two realms then. You have the sun realm and you have the bottom realm. So the reason, right, that the ninth furthest realm away from the sun is cold is because it is voided by the lack of sun, right? So the worst hell in Norse mythology isn't hot hell, right? Like in Christian mythology. No, it is an ice cold hell. So there's only one being alive down in super hell. First being that was ever alive. He just wants to destroy all universes. So I feel very, very confident. Genuinely, will say here immediately, I feel very confident this is the correct theory of Emu. I've been researching this idea for a long time. I mean it seriously. I've been thinking for months, like, but why does he want to drown the world for? Doesn't make any sense, alright? I've been researching all this, like, different gods and ideas, how to make it work, right? And the crazy thing is that I had already planned to make a video and saying that Emu has eaten this specific god fruit. Then, of course, the mural chapter drops, right? And I mean this absolutely sincerely. The mural chapter drops, and it is the same god I'm thinking about. I'm like, oh my god, it perfectly fits in to the god that I was already planning on, because part of the mural, right, shows this green dragon, so to speak, and I was like, oh, holy shit, that dragon can only be one thing in Norse mythology, and it perfectly fits the theory they have, right? This, guys, is my best theory I've ever made, and I hope you see the video. The video talk a lot about Norse mythology. It's gonna be a lot of Swedish and Norwegian and Danish video, guys. It'll be a lot of weird words, but this god perfectly fits the counterpart of Nika Nika, and it explains the water power, the demonic thing. So let's go. So number one question to me was, why does Emu actually want to increase the water height? How does he benefit from just drowning everyone, you know what I mean? How is it a beneficial thing when you already basically control most of the world? Well, what if you have the water fruit? What if you have the water fruit? And I know, people can say like, oh come on, the water fruit. Oda said we're never gonna make the water fruit. Oda was like, no water, no mizu, no me, he's been promised that. But what if he isn't the water fruit? What if he's the god that can control the water? And with that, I do not talk about Poseidon or some other god that is controlling water, right? But that's kind of lame, you know? No. I'm talking about primordial evil here. I'm talking about the god of gods in Norse mythology is actually the god that also controls water, even though he's a demon. So it perfectly fits into, right, to the general theme here of One Piece, where you have the elder gods or all different yokais, you know, Japanese demons, some kind of weird mixture of animal and demonic things, right? What if you had another animal? There's also a god that happens to be, you know, a mythical god, right? And what is the ultimate super evil demonic animal thing? Well, a dragon demon, of course. As a Viking, as a person that grew up in Sweden and Norway, the only thing that comes to your mind immediately when you see this mural, right, and you see this dragon kind of like eating on the roots of the Yggdrasil tree in the middle, it can only mean one thing. I am, of course, talking about Níðhöggr, the ultimate evil god in Norse mythology. So Níðhögg is the dragon god that constantly keeps trying to destroy Yggdrasil, like the world tree in Norse mythology. And I mean it absolutely sincerely, guys. In my One Piece theory video about Emu, I've been working on this for like 6 months, okay? Reading everything about this, thinking about it for a long time. And I had already decided to make a video about Nidhögg as Emu's fruit. Then this chapter drops, and I was like, okay, I am sure that I am accurate here. This is Nidhögg, man. Everything fits perfectly. Even before I saw this mural, I was like, it has to be Nidhögg, right? It has to be Nidhögg. And then the mural is like, well, it's a dragon basically eating on a tree here, middle of the tree in Yggdrasil. Do you say it in mythology? It has to be Nidhögg. I mean, it's elf power, Vikings, everything fits perfectly. Now, I know some might say, but Kaido is already a dragon, and it's kind of lame redoing it or whatever. But the thing is that while Nidhögg is called a dragon sometimes in English, he isn't actually technically a dragon, a Wyrm. And a Wyrm then in English is called Wyrm, of course. So he isn't actually the same animal, right, as a dragon per se. And furthermore, he's actually more like a demon dragon, okay? He isn't really a dragon. He's a Wyrm and he's a demon, or more like evil. And a very important point here is that Níðhögg literally means to be evil, or like Nid means evil and Högg means to kill someone or attack someone, and Níðhögg then as a word means like to inflict evil, okay? So he's not actually the god of dragons or the Dragon King or whatever, no, he's the god of evil, okay? So going back to One Piece, right, it's the perfect fruit, of course, to counteract Nika, right? Nika, you know, is freedom, he's a sun god, right? And if Emu is eating the classic then mythology fruit of evil, like straight up, the being of evilness, right? And this connection to Emu actually goes even deeper. You see, here's a rune script explaining what's happened after Ragnarök, and Níðhögg was flying here in the image, but Níðhögg in this version doesn't actually mean the evil one. It actually is read as the dragon in the shadows, or the dragon you can't see his face on. I'm not even kidding this guys. In Swedish here, this is read as draken i dunklet, or the drunkna daken, which basically means like the dragon you can't see, the real dragon, the dragon's face that is hidden by the shadows. Exactly like Emu, just like Emu. So again, to emphasize here, the name of Níðhögg either means the evil one, like the original evil god ever lived, right, in Norse mythology, the ultimate evil, but it could also be read as the shadow dragon, the dragon you cannot see, the dragon's face you cannot see. So now I'm gonna go in really deeply, guys, seriously, and explain Norse mythology, the philosophy, and how it connects back to Nika Nika. And when you see this thing, I mean genuinely, you're gonna see how perfect this fits for Nika Nika, because basically Níðhögg is like the ice dragon, and then of course Nika Nika is the sun dragon, and it all comes together. But I hope you guys genuinely, or even me, I hope you guys subscribe, press the like button, right? You know, you won't find that much YouTubers they can speak. I'm fluent in both Danish, Swedish, and Norwegian, and RuneScript, and I know all these languages, all the famous stories. So this is my art, right? It's elf buff, I'm a Viking, I know every goddamn reference. This is my goddamn art. But anyway, let's go then. Let's explain how Níðhögg works then. So Níðhögg actually lives in super hell, okay? So you probably heard about Helheim, right? Helheim is of course hell in Norse mythology, but Helheim isn't actually the worst hell. No, Níðhögg, he lives in Niflheim, which is bottom hell, okay? So you have two different hells. I mean, seriously. So you have the frozen hell and you have like hell. Now, the counterpart of Niflheim is of course Muspelheim, which is the sun, right? You see how they go on the thing. So to explain how this works, right, again, Helheim, where hell comes from, it's not actually the worst hell, okay? It is like the bottom hell underneath Midgard. Helheim looks something like this, right? Where you have zombies and you have undead, and it's basically terrible to live there. But it isn't actually like the typical Christianity hell where you get tortured and all that. It doesn't happen much there. It's basically that you didn't get to Valhalla, and now you kind of live in this like terrible, boring hell, and everything's just kind of shit, right? But you actually isn't tortured in there. Perhaps you are, but not like constantly. And I feel everyone kind of knows about Hela now. Well, first of all, her name actually is Hel, okay? Hela is some weird Marvel thing. Her real name is just Hel, just like the place Hell, okay? And she's is the queen of Helheim. And her father is then Loki, right? And the thing is that Hel isn't actually that stronger. So you might think that, oh, isn't she the strongest because she's the queen of Hell? No. The thing is that Hel is forced by Oden to go down to Helheim, right, and be his queen. But to actually make her the even necessarily the strongest person in Helheim. But again, Helheim isn't even the true hell in mythology. So you actually have Midgard here, you know, humans and orcs and whatever, right? This is Midgard, and then up here you have Asgard, you know, here's where Thor and Oden lives and so on, so forth, right? Up here is the sun then, Muspelheim, this is fire, this is where the sun is. And here is Helheim, right? This is a bottom thing underneath Midgard, you know, again, hell, right? But where Níðhögg lives is actually down here. He lives in Niflheim, which is super hell, okay? I'm not even kidding here. This guy, he's like the only living thing in super hell, okay? He's the god of super hell. You have hell, and then you have double hell. He lives down here. Ice. Another way to look at it kind of like this. You have again, then he is super hell, ice plane, and you have the hot, you know, sun place over here. There's a sun, right? And then you have Midgard and everything being created in between that. So the thing is that Níðhögg is the only living being down in super hell. I'm not even kidding, guys. This is how Norse mythology is. You have hell, and then you have even worse hell, where you have one evil god, dragon, demon thing living down there, and his only goal is to destroy the rest rest of the universe, and he's the first being alive to. He's the original evil, but he's the first being that was alive. See, Norse mythology works like this. In the beginning, there were only 2 realms, right? It is known today, of course, of the 9 realms of Yggdrasil, but in the beginning, you actually only had Niflheim and Muspelheim. So when the world was created in Norse mythology, you only had 2 realms then. You had the sun realm, or the fire realm, which is, of course, the top realm then, right? And you had the bottom realm. See, the reason, right, that the 9th, furthest realm away from the sun is cold is because it is voided by the lack of sun, right? So the worst hell in Norse mythology isn't hot hell, right? Like in Christian mythology. No, it is an ice cold hell with constant 1 Kelvin, and you live in a constant torture of just incredible pain all the time, right? So it's only one being alive down in super hell, okay? And that's Níðhöggr, right? And in the beginning, again, we only had these 2 realms, right? But these 2 realms mixturing other stuff like Yggdrasil, and all the things started to be alive. And then we got Midgard, and we got Asgard, and we got all Elfenheim and so on, right? Jotunheim. All this other worlds was created by the mixture of hot and ice world. Hates this, right? Because basically, in Nidhögg's perspective, his philosophy, he's the first being that was ever alive. So he's not actually evil in a sense. He's just like, I want to destroy everything else to restore the universe, right? He doesn't scheme. He doesn't actually team up with other bad guys in Norse mythology. He doesn't actually care about Ragnarök. He just wants to destroy all universes. He's just super, super evil, but in a much more like a primordial god way. It's just like, I was the first thing to be alive, and I want everything to be destroyed again. I want to be the only being alive again. Níðhöggr fits perfectly as the antithesis to Nika Nika, right? He's the furthest away from the sun, so his realm is just pure emptiness in the beginning, and then it turned cold. There's also part of it to understand too that he's either, ice-based, but it's actually kind of also in a way, what is more cold than coldness? Well, nothingness, right? So he just wants to destroy everything again and return everything to zero, right? And it's kind of similar to example that in Roman mythology, they call Hades Pluto, but Pluto is the furthest, planet, so to speak, away from the sun, right? Kind of similar thing here. He's basically so far away from the sun that everything is either not existing or just, frozen solid, right? Which again makes him the anti-side of Nika Nika. Now, as we all know, Oden has already done this thing, Impel Down, right? But I think it's very, very interesting because, remember, Impel Down works. Sure, it is probably based to some extent also on Dante's Inferno, of course, right? The Divine Comedy with different layers of hell. But think about it, the worst hell isn't actually the fire hell, right? The ice hell is. And the only thing underneath ice hell is just being voided, right? Being removed in history. It used to emphasize, right? This gives Emu a huge power scale as well, which makes him the ultimate boss fruit, right? For the ultimate last boss of the story. And just another comparison, right, is Hades. He is, of course, the king of hell, right? Mythology. However, then you have Thanatos, right? He's the actual embodiment death. He's much stronger than Hades, because he's the living, like, the deity, the spectral version of that, right? And that comes back to Níðhögg being some kind of, not actually a dragon, some kind of demon dragon thing, right? They conceptualized he's actually used I am evil god, right? He's the evil god that happens to have the power of ice and water as well, which gives him all different powers. He can create demons, he can do a bunch of different stuff, right? And again, he's a kind of mixture of just a bunch of different evil stuff, which also, in a lot of ways, Níðhögg tends to be somewhat similar to the Orochi and, of course, the Hydra fruit that is more versions of Níðhögg. It has more than one head, every head has one power, and so on. It's about a different version of Níðhögg, but conceptualized, right, his power isn't actually dragon or frost or ice or whatever, or demon. His actual power is evil, right? He's the power of evil, eating the fruit of evilness, which also perhaps might explain if he could maybe, inject evilness, right? Remember the mural? The mural tells you that the forest god created demons, right, So if Níðhögg is eaten the conceptual fruit, or has the power then, whatever, right, of the conceptualized origin of evil in the mythology, he can create more evil, right? And also, of course, remember that he's basically not a dragon, but a Wyrm. He's like Migos Ormen. He's basically is so big that his whole body covers his whole planet. Another thing with Níðhögg that is very important to understand is he doesn't actually want Ragnarök. And that probably sounds kind of weird, because this is the super evil god dragon thingy that wants to kill everything. But that's the thing, right? Ragnarök is actually a cyclic thing. Ragnarök doesn't just end the universe. Ragnarök, right, is a prophecy how the world is destroyed and then renewed, right? Ragnarök happens like every 1,000 years. Some god dies, some, fenris will eat stuff or whatever, right? And it repeats itself, right? This is what puny, pathetic gods do, like Loki, right, and Hel. They are Ragnarök people. They want to destroy the current thing and take over or whatever, right? They want to be the king and so on, right? Níðhöggr is supposed to kill everything, okay? Níðhöggr wants to achieve emptiness. Níðhöggr wants to restore the universe back to its original form when no one else was alive. And this, of course, comes back to Ymir, right? Because it's like, even if he has the water power, and he can control the ocean or whatever, and he wants then more water, I suppose, right? What is, again, still the goal of just drowning everyone? But what if he doesn't actually care? What if Ymir's actual goal, because again, he's a zoan user, right? He's a mythical Nidhögg. Nidhögg is also kill everything. He doesn't actually want to be the king of the world. Ymir's real goal is to just kill everyone, right? And that makes everything make so much more sense. His plan isn't to use, I'm gonna drown the poor countries and control this place or whatever. No, he just wants to kill everyone. His real goal is total destruction, right? This is of course also why the Marines will eventually betray him, and even the government will eventually betray him, right? Because his actual goal isn't just to be the world controller. He wants to kill everyone, just like Níðhögg, and that perfectly explains his plan. And here, guys, comes the real kicker. I would argue, right, that you probably agree with me. This all makes perfect sense. Níðhögg, it also means like a shadow dragon, all this stuff, right? It all fits, it all fits so well, right? And I hope you guys, and again, press subscribe or whatever, leave a comment below, what do you guys think at this point, okay? Because now, here, guys, comes the real kicker, and I mean it seriously. This last point, you're gonna be like, oh, holy moly. Now it really fits perfectly. That is Níðhögg, right? So again, Níðhögg then, right? Demon, evil, dragon god thing. Primordial evil, right? Rather than being the god of dragons or whatever, he's the god of evil. But what does he do in his daily life? Well, you see, Níðhögg lives down, right, in this frozen super hell realm where all the ice are. And by moving around, trying to destroy Yggdrasil, he actually creates all water. So Ymir is not gonna have the water fruit, but he will have a mythical god form that can control water. In Norse mythology, there's a place called Vergelmer. This is the only place not frozen then in Niflheim, right? Because that's the main place where Níðhögg lives. When Níðhögg tries to destroy Yggdrasil, moving around, he is the one that actually breaks the ice and messes into water. And see, every river, every lake, and every other water source comes from this place. So Níðhögg is literally the one that is raising the water levels at Midgård in Norse mythology. He is the one that is pushing up the water to every other plane. And then you combine that with Ymir's goal actually is being total destruction. That's the one to actually control the world. He already kind of does that, right? Now his plan is to just destroy everything, right? And just completely destroy the planet. And it's exactly like Níðhögg. He's living in the water, trying to raise the water so high that everyone drowns. I think it also is fair to say, is in general, is that I would be really, really surprised, right, if no one is Níðhögg. As I said earlier, as soon as I saw the mural, I was like, okay, that is definitely Níðhögg in the mural. I was like, whoa, that is Níðhögg so much. Fits material perfectly. So, I mean, if Ymir isn't Níðhögg, someone else definitely will be. I mean, Oden's already going over, the phoenix or whatever, right? He's clearly taking different, magical beasts and gods from mythology, right? And as you said, he loves Norse mythology, he loves Vikings, right? All this stuff. Why would he skip over the classic, most evil, strongest god in Norse mythology? Not Loki or whatever, not this god, Níðhögg, primordial, mythical super monster, right? Yeah. Why would he ignore that god for? That to me won't happen. Doesn't make sense to me. Again, if Ymir isn't Níðhögg, someone else will be, right? He has the roche fruit, the driver, you know what I mean? Yeah, obviously someone will be Níðhögg. That to me is a no-brainer, absolutely. And it perfectly fits Ymir to be Níðhöggr. And we got a video, please subscribe, press the like button, leave a comment below. What do you guys think? But I keep being like that, right? But I used to feel so confident because, as I said earlier, before that chapter, I had already planned to make a video going over Níðhögg and how Níðhögg is pushing up the water and that stuff, right? And like I said, then I saw the mural, I was like, well, there's a dragon there covering the roots, just like in Níðhögg. Well, that makes perfect sense. And also, right, the forest god, you know, is a god living among the trees, right? Níðhögg is always living among Yggdrasil roots, trying to destroy all the trees.